Hello, today is the 5th maths lesson. We're going to get started with a times table starter. Right, look closely at this table. It says there is something strange about this addition square. Can you work out what the missing number is? Have a look. 3 add 3 is 6. That makes sense to me. 8 add 3 is 11. Yeah, makes sense. 11 add 3 is 2. I wonder what that means. Pause the video and have a good think. Jot down your answer on a piece of paper. Now, I wonder if any of you have managed to work out the solution. Now look, this is called times table. Time is the clue. Imagine these are times. 11 o'clock. Well, add 3 hours. So if we go from 11 o'clock, we get 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It works. Let's try this one. This is 11 o'clock and we need to add 8 hours. So 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It works. So down here, the missing number, so 11 o'clock add 11 hours. I'm going to count on my fingers, or I might just have to do it in my head, but 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is the missing number. Let me know if you got that because I'll be really super impressed. Now today we're looking at division. So we've learnt about multiplication. So we've all learnt that a half multiplied by a quarter would be 1/8 because we know that we can multiply the numerators together and we can multiply the denominators together. However, just to add more confusion, you can actually represent those calculations here by saying 1/4 divided by 2. So these three calculations all represent the same calculation. If we think about it, it actually makes sense because that's what we've been doing. Let me start this slideshow again from the beginning so we can see it step by step. So if we start with 1 whole, like we normally do, it's not, let me break it down. If we have a whole and then we have a quarter and we divide the quarter into 2 equal parts, we get 1/8. So actually, to me, it makes more sense to say 1/4 divided by 2. Let's have a look at another example. Well, before we move on, it says what's the same. So, what's the same? What's different? Just pause the video and have a little think. So I can see that 1/4 is the same in both questions. 1/8 is the same in both calculations. Here we have still got the 2 in both calculations, but we haven't got a numerator, we've just got 2. I wonder why it's the same. So look here. We've got 1 whole, we've got 2 halves here. Now remember, we just focus on one of the parts first. So we've divided this half into 3 equal parts. So you should be good at this by now. What's that yellow block worth? Count up how many parts are in the whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 parts in the whole, and we want one of those parts. So that part represents 1/6. So when we were looking at this, we'd have got a multiplication question, but can you think of the division calculation today? What have we divided the half into? How many parts? 1/2 divided by 3 equals 1/6. So look carefully at this. Can you spot any link? So look, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, think. What do you think will go in this box? 1/3 multiplied by 1/5 is the same as 1/3 divided by which number? Let's have a look. So 1/3 divided by 5. Did you get it right? Let's have a look at this one. What question would go here? So we've got 1 whole divided into quarters, and then we've divided the quarter into how many parts? 1, 2. What would the question be? 1/4 divided by something equals 1/8. Did you get it right? Remember, it's the same as 1/4 multiplied by a half. What about this one? What would the question be? 1/2 divided by something equals 1/6. Remember, yesterday we would have said 1/2 multiplied by something, but today we're thinking of division. 1/2 divided by 3 equals 1/6. Did you get it right? What about this one? 1/3 divided by something equals 1/15. Did you get it right? I wonder if you've spotted any mathematical rule. So, some things that have been spotted are dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. Dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. And dividing by 5 is the same as multiplying by 1/5. So, to make it easier, so this question looks really complicated, 1/3 divided by 5. But we can just make it simple by turning it into a multiplication, because we've been good at doing really well at those. To divide a fraction by a whole number, we can change it into an equivalent multiplication. So to divide by 5, we can multiply by 1/5. Look here, 1/3 divided by 4 is the same as 1/3 multiplied by 1/4. What would the answer be? What is 1/3 divided by 1/4? Remember, it's the same as 1/3 multiplied by 1/4. Remember our rules, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Did you get the answer right? 1/12. See this one? 3/4 divided by 5. That sounds really complicated. But remember, dividing by 5 is the same as multiplying by 1/5. So the answer, 3/20. Pause the video in a moment and have a go at these. Remember what we've just looked at. So basically, whenever you see a whole number here, well, on these ones, you can turn it into a multiplication. So 1/8 divided by 3 would be the same as doing 1/8 multiplied by 1/3. Have a go at this one. 5/9 divided by 2 is the same as 5/9 multiplied by 1/2. Now let's look at this one. 1/4 divided by 4 would be the same as doing 1/4 multiplied by 1/4. This one, 2/3 multiplied by 7 would be the same as 2/3 multiplied by 1/7. So we look at this one. 1/7 multiplied by 1/4 would be the same as 1/7 divided, also doing the other way around now. 1/7 divided by, look at this, it'd be divided by 4. 3/5 multiplied by a half would be the same as 3/5 divided by 2. 2 would go here. Circle the calculations that are equivalent to 3/5 multiplied by 1/5. Which ones of these are the same, mean the same thing? Pause the video. Okay, so this one's the same. They've just swapped them round. This one, is this the same? 3/5? Yeah. Divided by 5. Yes, this one's the same. This one, no. This one, no. There's the top two. Did you get it right? Now I'd like you to solve these division calculations. Remember one example, so we'll do one together. 1/3 divided by 7 is the same as, I might do my workings on my piece of paper, maybe you can do it at the same time as me, and then I'll show it and we can see if we've got the same. Right, I'm writing mine down. 1/3 divided by 7 is the same as 1/3 multiplied by Right, I've got my answer. Let's put it back on the video. Let's see if you've got the same as me. Have I got it right? There's my workings. So dividing by 7 is the same as multiplying by 1/7. So I got 1/21. Okay, so let's carry on. So you have a go at the others. I'll have a go as well, and then we can go through the answers. So I'm writing a few of them down. Okay, I've done the top two. So I'll show you my answers for the top two, and then you can send me the rest on Teams so I can see how you've done. So I've turned them into multiplications and made them easier for myself. Did you get the same as me? Let me get on the camera. Okay. I think that's it. Let's have a look. So, Sophia is running a half marathon. She is 1/3 of the way through the race. What fraction of a full marathon has she completed? Ooh, that's interesting. Right, okay, and the next one. Joel has 3/4 of a litre of juice. He divides it equally between 5 glasses. What fraction of a litre is in each glass? Right, first of all, look at the questions and write down. So look at the word problems and write down the mathematical questions. So I'm looking at it. Sophia is running a half marathon. Okay, I'm writing down half. She is 1/3 of the way through the race. Okay, so it's like saying she's done 1/3 of the race. So of is the same as multiply. So I'm going to write down 1/2 multiplied by 1/3. Okay, I'm going to work the answer out. Maybe you should do the same as well. I remember that I need to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. Next one. Joel has 3/4 of a litre of juice. Okay, right, 3/4. I'm writing that down. He divides it equally between 5. Okay, so the question is 3/4 divided by 5. Oh, that looks really complicated. 3/4 divided by 5. I don't like that. I'm going to make it a multiplication. So I remember that dividing by 5 is the same as multiplying by 1/5. So I'm going to do 3/4 multiplied by 1/5. Right, remember my rule. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Right, I'm going to reveal my answers, so pause the video if you're still working. Otherwise, you need to let me know if I've got it right. I'm going to show you now. Okay, I'm just going to put it on. So the first one I got 1/6, and the second one I got 3/20. Did you get the same as me? I think we've got one final part. Fill in the missing numbers to make these statements true. Ooh, okay, right. So on the first one it says 2/9 divided by something equals 2/63. Right, okay, I'm thinking this has got to be a whole number because we've only been divided by whole numbers. Now I'm not looking at the numerators because they're the same. I'm looking at the 9 and the 63. I'm thinking, what do I multiply 9 by to get 63? 7. It must be 7. I'm going to just check that. Because who remembers, what is it? When you divide by 7, it's the same as multiplying by 1/7. Let me just check. Do I actually get 2/63? You check as well. I'm going to show you my workings. Here we go, have a look. Did you get the same? Yeah, it works. So look at the next one now. See if you can do that one. Something divided by 5 equals 3/35. Ooh. Right. I think I'm going to make this. I'm going to turn it into a multiplication. Right, dividing by 5 is the same as multiplying by 1/5. So I'm going to do something times 1/5 equals 3/35. Okay, I can do this now. Right, I've got my answer. I'm going to put it in a bubble. So look at the next one. I'll show you my answer first, actually, see if you got the same. I got the answer 3/7. If I hadn't made it a multiplication, I'd have found that really tricky. Okay, and I'm just adding this part on to the original video. So when I pop on screen in a moment, you might realise that I've suddenly got changed. It's because I've just watched the video back and I've realised that the video didn't record me going through the last 2 questions. Now, the last 2 questions are the trickier questions, but one of them in particular is actually a very straightforward question. If you think about efficiency, okay, you have to look carefully. Now, these 2 questions are the trickier questions, so don't worry if you don't get them, because when we go back into school, we'll definitely do more of these. But I'm going to show you my answers now for the first one. So, something over 10 divided by 3 equals something over 6. Okay, so I'm going to put my answer on screen now. My workings that I did. So what I did was I used the knowledge from the lesson. Hang on. So I used the knowledge from the lesson and I thought, right, dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. So I did that straight away. So I thought, right, it's going to be 5/10 multiplied by 1/3, which equals 5/30. Okay, then I thought, right, well, obviously, the question says it has to be 6 at the end, denominator of 6. So I checked, and when you do 30 divided by 5, you get 6. So basically, 5/30 is equivalent to 1/6. So that is, it keeps zooming in. So that is a correct answer. Now you can see my workings on the other side. Okay, those workings show that basically on top you need the number of 6 to be equivalent to 30ths. So you can have 10/30ths, 15/30ths, 20/30ths, 25/30ths, or 30/30ths. Okay, those are other options for the answer of 6. But I haven't shown you how many number of tenths fifths you would need. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense now. If it makes sense to you, then you might be able to find the other answers because there is more than one solution. But if not, this answer here that I'm pointing to now, that one works. Okay, I'll be so impressed if you got that right. But as I say, don't worry if you didn't. Now the other question, let me get that one. So this one is where I actually wasted a lot of time because when I started to work it out, I did not think efficiently. And I just thought about what we've been doing in the lesson. And at the end, I thought, oh my goodness, I didn't think about my decimal equivalents. Let me show you my working so you can see I did waste a little bit of time actually. So the answer is divided by 8, okay? And basically you can see all these failed attempts because at first I started to think, well, it's going to have to be multiplied by something. And you could see my equivalent fractions at the end didn't work until I got trial and error. So you can see here, I worked out that 4/5 multiplied by 1/8 equals 4/40, which is equivalent to 1/10. And then I suddenly realised, oh, I've wasted loads of time. I know my decimal equivalents, and I know that 4/5 is equivalent to 0.8. And I know that 0.8 divided by 8 is 0.1. It's like money, isn't it? 80p divided by 8 would be 10p. Okay, so even though I'd wasted quite a bit of time, I was quite pleased that now I'm certain that I'm correct because my decimal equivalents have proved to me that I got it right. Let me know for either of those questions if you think you've done it more efficiently than I have, because I bet some of you have. Great job. Let me know how you've got on. Well done.